The Arts Office, Waterford City and County Council, is pleased to announce that the winner of the Keane Creative Writing Award 2024 is Sophie Tracy from Stonyford, County Kilkenny, with her story, Out of Eden. Warmest congratulations, Sophie. It's a wonderful story. Out of Eden by Sophie Tracy. I should have left earlier. The disco doesn't finish for another 25 minutes, but already my car is jammed in a queue of other eager parents that snakes back beyond the far pitch, their left indicator lights all flashing in unison toward the car park. I hover my foot above the accelerator and drum my fingers against the steering wheel. Eventually a man in a high-vis jacket motions me forward with a solemn nod, quietly savouring his newfound authority in the role. I swing into a space near the exit so the girls won't have too far to walk, wrench up the handbrake, flick on the radio, tilt back my seat, and wait. It's cold out, but the kids don't seem to mind. They gradually begin to trickle out of the building, eyes darting in search of their ride home, with flushed faces and ringing ears, charged with the intoxicating assurance that 2 whole weeks of holidays now stretch out before them. I see Hannah first. She's running across the tarmac in her bare feet in pursuit of a small but handsome boy that has taken off with one of her shoes. I recognise him from Kate's class. Mark, or was it Max? When it quickly becomes clear that Hannah stands no chance of catching Mark/Max, she hurls her other shoe at him in folk contempt. The surrounding boys look on with knowing, bemused, almost nostalgic grins. And a chuckle catches in my throat. When do they all get so old? Then I see Saoirse and Claudia lolloping towards the car with their arms slung over one another. They wrench Hannah away from Mark/Max, who is now on one knee, refastening a buckle on Hannah's shoe with apologetic grandiose. They pile into the back seats. "Where's Kate, girls?" I ask. "She said she was going into the bathroom real quick." "Okay." Then I see her, my daughter, walking through the crowd towards the car. Her shoulders are slouched, chin pointed downward, hands clasping her opposite upper arm, insulating herself from the March chill. I think I see Mark/Max yell something at her from across the car park, and all his friends laugh, but they're not bemused, knowing kind laughs. They're demeaning, smug, wicked. But I can't do anything, only watch. Kate slides into the passenger seat wordlessly and immediately starts to scroll through her phone. Her thumbs send flashing clips of the night just gone by hurtling across the screen so rapidly I know she cannot possibly be apprehending anything. As I turn on the ignition, I clock a fat teardrop fall from her cheek and splatter across the screen. She swipes it away immediately. I feel a wave of tenderness swell and burst in my chest. "Will we swing by the chipper, girls?" I ask, peering into the rear-view mirror. We never swing by the chipper. My words betray the tinfoil-clad chicken carcass waiting in the fridge at home next to the butter and milk. I must pick up more butter. I don't think the girls in the back hear me. Hannah is squealing loudly. "Did you get a photo of me shifting Mark at the wall? Show me, show me! No, seriously, Saoirse, show me or I'll actually get annoyed." A phone is tossed and jostled around the back of the car like a bridal bouquet at a wedding reception. Kate speaks for the first time. No chips. I'm literally getting so fat." This isn't true. Then for no reason at all, she says, "This car is so embarrassing." As I sit there behind the steering wheel, dressed in ratty pyjamas and a muddy raincoat her dad wears around the yard, I notice that I blend seamlessly into the faded grey upholstery. I can't help but feel that I too, no less than the gear stick and the handbrake and the sticky broken built-in stereo, constitute part of this so embarrassing car. "Well, I'm sorry, love. I never got around hoovering it before your friends arrived." We both glance down at the thousands of dog hairs, biscuit crumbs and tiny sand grains embedded in the thick fibres of the carpet, deposited there by generations of buckets and spades. When we eventually merge onto the motorway, I resolve to make a bold advance into no man's land. "What happened tonight, Kate?" I whisper, so the girls chattering in the back can't hear me over the steady whir of the engine. Her eyes remain fixed in a glassy stare. She takes a deep, thoughtful breath, seeming to be mentally weighing up the merits and demerits of confiding in me. Eventually she says, "Dylan broke up with me." "I see. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, pet." Said the lad said he could do better. "Well, that's just not acceptable, Kate. I think you..." She holds up a hand to stop me. Her mouth twitches in a faintly amused, sardonic smile. "It's fine, ma'am, honestly." Her tone is long-suffering, verging on patronising. She tells me that I live in a blissful naivety, utterly unaware of the harsh and brutal world that she must navigate outside the safe refuge of this car. A silence hangs between us momentarily before she matter-of-factly reaches across the dashboard and snatches a packet of chewing gum. She pops 2 pieces into her mouth, leans back into her car seat and takes out her phone again. She's quickly engulfed in a flurry of liking, commenting, sharing, reacting. Our conversation is over. I've never heard of Dylan in my life. I feel like I've opened my favourite book and started reading a chapter I do not recognise. Who is this stranger whose actions have chipped away at my daughter's confidence as I sat waiting in the car? The girls in the back are now utterly silent, studiously inspecting the photographs that were taken earlier in the evening on our front porch. Hannah selects one that is, in her words, not actually that bad, and passes it around for solemn approval from the other girls. When the phone is passed back to Kate, I peek over the screen and see that this particular permutation depicts her, Hannah and Claudia. Kate enlarges the photo to distortion, zooming in onto her left arm so closely that the image dissolves into a pixelated blur. Her eyes narrow in contemptuous scrutiny, like a scientist in a lab peering through a microscope at a cell sample that refuses to cooperate. "I look so weird in that," is all she says, before passing the phone back. I stare out of the car windscreen, watching the folded windscreen wiper swallow the beady lights on the hard shoulder of the motorway. When did all this shame that I see in my daughter take hold? Of her car, her mother, her left arm. I know it wasn't there when she was little. Could I have stopped it, slowed it down, kept it out? Had I not been so quick to point out all her great failures, to unload the dishwasher, to bring a coat, to leave her brother in peace? Had I not waged wars over outfits and ear piercings and going down after school, not drawn and redrawn arbitrary battle lines with all my fruitless forbidding, prescribing and restraining? I did try to build her up. I cut toenails, combed and parted her wet hair, picked out pyjamas and brushed tiny porcelain teeth. I ferried plastic cups of water up and down the stairs and read bedtime stories in ludicrous voices, telling her every day, what a pretty picture, what a clever girl, what a nice thing to do. I tried to shield what I had built from the world, covering her in sun cream and winter coats, holding my hand over her eyes to stop shampoo from getting in. But I feel that my efforts are beginning to forsake me. I can't stop her from getting out of the car, walking into a grotty village clubhouse and getting knocked down. I should have known all along. That is what it is to be a mother. To watch your child discover the world at a time when their very existence borders on hysteria and the stakes of everything. What their body looks like, who likes them back, all seems so dizzyingly high. My daughter is like Eve, cast out of the garden, suddenly confronted and overcome with the shame and limits of her own humanity, cast out of childhood's Edenic paradise. She thinks I could never understand what it's really like out there. I remain in Eden to her, and I cannot tell her that I do understand. She'd never believe me. So I remain in the dark, hovering on the edge of her life, catching glimpses and drawing inferences. But this white-hot melodrama of existence will eventually subside for her, and she will come to find everything so utterly inconsequential that you will wonder why she ever cared at all. Until then, all I can do is wait. We reach the house. I swerve the car into the driveway, and I see the dog spring to life with the sound of crunching gravel. I see my husband through the kitchen window, reading the newspaper and eating a slice of toast. There's smoke pouring out of the chimney, signalling a warm fire waits in the living room. It is our own little Eden. As I switch off the engine, I turn around to deliver a list of announcements I've mentally prepared in my head. The girls should help themselves to water. I've made up the spare bedroom. There's another blanket in the press if they need it. What time are they getting collected at tomorrow? But when I turn around, I see that 3 girls in the back have fallen asleep. They look so peaceful, like Raphaelite cherubs, their heads lolling at awkward angles, propped up against the windows and seatbelts. Their mouths are slightly ajar. Phones strewn on the floor, shoulders rising and falling in the steady rhythm of deep slumber. They look so young. I gently wake them and they clamber out of the car, unanimously resolving that it was a good night. Maybe even better than the last disco. It was just a pity about Kate and Dylan. I watch them file into the house, chattering and giggling. Hannah shows Kate something on her phone, and she rocks her head back in laughter, and they confront the world for the first time, knock against its sharp edges, all the while convinced they're the first ones to do it. At least they have each other, I think. I sit in the car and watch.